everything comes across. We're on the right side. Excellent. Wonderful. Hello, and welcome back to another Mental Health Monday here on Even Tacos Fall Apart. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm very excited for tonight's topic because it is definitely something that I absolutely agree with, especially the random acts of kindness part. But we're going to be talking also about meditation and mindfulness. And we've got a wonderful guest, Tracy Owens. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you taking the time.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, a little bit about Tracy, and just a quick reminder that we do have a question queue open. If you want to ask any questions while we're live, go ahead and pop those into the chat. If you're on Twitch, you can type exclamation point Q, pop them into a chat. That'll actually highlight it and bring it to the top. If you're on YouTube, you can just pop those in the chat. I'll make sure to get it. But a little bit about Tracy before we dive in. Tracy Owens is a compassionate and creative individual dedicated to nurturing connection and well-being. As the founder of Uplift with Tracy and Uplift Sunrise Sisterhood, she fosters a supportive community that empowers women to uplift and inspire each other. With a passion for mindfulness and nature, she leads mindfulness hikes and group therapy classes, encouraging others to cultivate a deeper connection with themselves and the natural world. Through her work, Tracy aims to spread love and kindness, creating a ripple effect of positivity that touches hearts and lives. And if you are looking to connect with Tracy anywhere, I'm going to go ahead and post a couple of batches of socials. So I've got website, YouTube, TikTok, and then if you're looking for anywhere else, there's also a link tree. So make sure to go find her on those, give her a follow. All that good stuff. Y'all know the engagement helps the algorithm always, always. So go do all of that. And again, Tracy, thanks for just taking the time and having this conversation.
Hey, I'm excited to have this conversation. That's what I love talking about this. So I'm gonna hopefully like my nerves, keep them at bay. Use the mindfulness so we have a good time.
Absolutely. Look, everybody has a little bit of nerves. Like that's one thing. Doing this all the time, like even my nerves sometimes will get to me. And it's like once you get started, once you get going, it just kind of flows, and that's the good stuff. So I want to start. I'll give you an easy one. What inspired you to start Uplift with Tracy?
This is actually probably the most in-depth question on the whole list, and I'm excited. I'm excited to share it. So what inspired me to start Uplift with Tracy is actually, I was diagnosed with bipolar 1 back in my 20s, and I started identifying with the disorder a lot. It became who I was, and so it wasn't just something that I had. It became who I was
Ah,
because with bipolar 1, um, for those that don't know, you have really high emotions called manias, and then you have really low emotions called depressions, and you could have some psychosis, anxiety. And when I got this diagnosis and started really struggling with it, I started identifying as someone that's, I have bipolar, so that means I'm unstable. And that means if I'm unstable, then I'm unreliable. And if I'm unstable and unreliable, then I can't achieve the things that I wanted to achieve in life no more. Like I'm a college graduate. I had all these hopes and dreams, and then this disorder just like disrupted all of that. And so with that identity, uh I started really struggling with depression a lot, and intrusive thoughts, and anxious this anxiety, and it became a daily struggle. I was a single mom for a while too, and so that actually being a mother really was helpful, but it was difficult. And I started realizing, I'm not alone in this. There's so many people dealing with depression and anxiety, and I'd ask people, what they're going through, and I was seeing that a lot of people are struggling with it too. And anyway, so there was one day in particular, and this was 2 years ago now, on Christmas, and I woke up and I had this intrusive thought, this voice that I heard a lot that told me I shouldn't have woke up in my sleep.
hmm.
You should never have woke up, is what it would tell me, like, because your life is worthless pretty much. And but it was Christmas, so I said, no, I should be happy it's thinking Christmas, like, why am I so miserable, And it was actually like this little like mustard seed of hope, that maybe I could feel a little better. Maybe this isn't something that is going to be this bad forever, because you're told you get this diagnosis, something you're going to deal with for the rest of your life. You're going to be on medication the rest of your life, and so that tiny little thought of hope triggered something. And I went to my grandmother's house. We did Christmas. And I actually I started rewriting my story. And I made a new like Facebook profile for myself. I was like, I don't want to identify as broken Tracy anymore. So I even made like a nickname for myself. I called myself Vera Joy. and and I was like, so this new person is not broken, is not bipolar, is not this person is reliable and can wake up happy in the morning and can have a job again. And then little did I know, I started reading self-help books, and I realized this activity that I did was actually like is scientifically proven to help with things like this. Like rewriting your story is something that a lot of people do to change their life path. And so you heard of that too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, there's some science to what I'm doing. And lo and behold, some things started just kind of like falling into place in my life. I was invited to a morning routine, and it was with a Tony Robbins community. Never heard of these self-help coaches prior to this. I didn't know they existed. And so I started this morning routine, and that's where I learned about meditation and gratitude, and we watched some motivational videos. I'm starting to shake because I'm getting excited talking about this.
That's good.
um, so yeah, and so I did that for like 14 days, and I woke up one morning, I'm feeding my cats, and I'm realizing I didn't have that voice that told me I should have unalived
Oh, that's
myself,
awesome.
I,
Yeah.
yeah. And I actually felt normal, which was abnormal at the time because was constant with anxiety. I didn't have any anxiety. I'm like, I actually feel like I did before I had this diagnosis. Like back high school, college, I was feeling good. And so I was like, there's something to this. There's something to this. And I noticed when I didn't do my mindfulness, I didn't do my morning routine with a wonderful lady. Her name was Jennifer. And I noticed the anxiety creep back in. So I was like, I need to be consistent with this. And as I stayed consistent with it, I realized this is something I should share with people, and the more research I did, how it's helping other people as well, mindfulness, meditation, gratitude, all these things. I was like, it's my duty now that I don't have anxiety and I don't have these horrible voices and I'm feeling good again, I'm feeling like myself, I should share it with others. And so it was my birthday of last year, and I was like, you know what? I couldn't figure out how to make a non-for-profit. But so I was like, I'm just going to go with this and start a business. I'm going to go to the county office building, and I had like it was like a higher power sort of inspiration, like of this word uplift just kept coming into my mind. Like I need to uplift myself because I was just down and depressed in this depression and anxiety. And that's no way to live. So uplift yourself, uplift others. So I was like, uplift with Tracy. We're gonna go with this. So started the business, and just started promoting what I knew works. The mindfulness, how the random acts of kindness, spreading meditation, how it works, what it truly is, and prayer and gratitude, motivational videos, and just seeing what happened. And I had a really good feedback from the community. The library wanted me to teach this stuff. Different non-for-profits, recovery centers. So it just took off because the heart condition's there, It's, so that's how Uplift with Tracy started.
That's
It became a
really
community.
cool. That's really neat. So I know there are like all these certifications and stuff you can get. Did you pursue any of like a meditation coach or life coach or anything like that whenever you were starting this? Or you're just like, this is the day, I'm going to start it, I'm going to do it now, let's go?
It was, this is the day, I'm going
Yeah.
to do this. I have years of personal experience
Yeah.
with this now under my belt. I have a psychology degree already.
Hmm.
Um, and and yeah, and then I've taken classes with Thought Leader and Tony Robbins, different free events and things. So like yeah, I want to continue my education. I'm still
Yeah.
ready to learn more and keep sharing more. Like a lot of the research and stuff is coming out within the last 5-10 years.
Hmm.
How powerful this stuff really is. So yeah, that's that's the thing. If I realize that if you're just like 10% ahead of somebody else, so you've gone through it, you're just 10% ahead, you're capable to teach and to help others.
Hmm.
You don't have to be some guru and you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
You can start helping others where you're at.
Yeah.
There's somebody that's in your shoes just a few months ago and that you can help.
Yeah.
So if that encourages anybody, like if you don't feel like you're good enough to start helping others, that is such a lie from the enemy. You can start now.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that that's especially true in like the peer support community of things and just like if you've been somewhere, chances are someone else has been somewhere. And I see that with my kids too. If I've experienced something in life and they're going through something similar, I've got a teenager and he has drama and it's like, well, I've been through some similar things, with friends in the past and here's what I wish I had done differently. Sometimes it's not even like here's what I did. It's here's what I wish I'd done differently and you can learn from that from me. So I feel like that's very, very true and very, very applicable of just like you can help people wherever you are in life, you can help people. Someone is not in your
Exactly.
same position, you can still help. You can still help them. So it sounds
Yeah.
like you're really busy with all of this and doing the library stuff and going to these different recovery centers. And I know you do things online on Facebook and everything too. And you've got a YouTube channel. So what do you enjoy doing when you're not busy doing all of this other stuff?
Well, I have a 10-year-old daughter and she's homeschooled. So we're constantly, we're going out bike riding and going down to the
Yeah.
creek. And of course, we were talking earlier, she plays piano and guitar. And so I spend a lot of time with her. I have a fiance. So we try to spend time together. He
Congratulations.
just started a mushroom business. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, so planting plants and learning all that, that's new and fun. And you have a cat there. I have 3 cats and a dog and 2 fish tanks, 2 turtles. I just got some budgies, some parakeets.
Oh,
So all these
nice.
animals, I just love spending time with them and training them and
Yeah.
taking care of them. It's a lot of fun.
That's really cool. So you see the cat. I also have 3 dogs and a turtle and some snakes. And it's like I used to have fish. There was a tragedy with the fish and I haven't recovered from it. So I don't have fish currently. But it's one of those things that it's like I definitely feel like pets help you. They can, I guess they can help your mental health or maybe hurt it sometimes too, but mostly help.
Yeah,
Mostly help.
yeah,
Oh, mycology
especially
is a
the
lot of fun.
ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, I love my pets. They've helped me a lot. Like I said earlier, when I was really struggling with the depression and anxiety and I got up and fed my cats, like sometimes that was the reason I got out of bed in the morning.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned also that being a parent helped you. And I feel like I'm not sure
Mhm.
where you were coming from with that, but in my experience, there were definitely times in my life where, like, were it not for my kids and a little bit my pets too, I wouldn't have seen the point to life. I wouldn't have seen it. So I don't know that that's where you were coming from with that, but it's definitely somewhere that I've been. So yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly where I've been. It's like, thank goodness I have a child and these animals that rely on me or I just stay in bed,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. Yep,
That's a good
exactly.
one.
Do you have a true crime story that fascinates you?
I thought that was a funny, interesting question. That a lot of people love that question. I don't have one, but I find it fascinating that a lot of people do.
Yeah.
That they spend a lot of time researching and watching the murder mysteries and things. And I personally I try to avoid those because they give me anxiety. It's
Yep.
like, whoa, this
Yep.
is like something. This is real life. Like somebody has like a corrupted mind so bad they're willing to take somebody else's lives, and I rather not think about it. And I think if you do have anxiety and depression problems, you could be watching those things. There's a distraction. You like the adrenaline rush it gives temporarily, but deep down, like it could cause some like fear. It could cause more anxiety because this is real life stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would suggest like reading those self-help books and something like more funny that makes you laugh and is
Yeah.
enjoyable. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really like that question because there are plenty of people who have your same like I don't watch it, it stresses me out, it gives me anxiety. And then there's the other side where they're like I watch it so I feel more prepared and I feel less anxiety were something to happen. And
Oh,
so it's like you can come at that from either direction. And then there's the whole like psychology behind the mind, fascination and that kind of thing. But now you mentioned self-help books. Do you have a self-help book that you recommend for people if they're either new to self help or they're maybe a little jaded by the self help industry? Is there one that you recommend?
right. Um, the one that popped out at me when I first started, rewriting my story was Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and realizing that a lot of the habits and stuff in this subconscious programming that you have, how meditation can help. That really it really opened my eyes to how this stuff really works, and it's not like woo woo or a cult. This is actually
Yeah.
like scientific, and I love that book. Um, but I have a whole pile of self help books now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean people who read self-help books and really enjoy them wind up with a bunch that they're like this one helped me and then this one helped me and then this one helped me. I like to try to give people one like if you were to recommend, here's the one that you should definitely go pick up and give a try and see if it works for you. But yeah, you wind up with a whole stack. For sure. And there is a link to that book in the chat. It's on Goodreads. You buy it wherever you want. Goodreads is not a buy place, it's just a book review place. So, but there's a link to that book in the chat if anybody's interested in checking it out. So you talked a little bit about mindfulness and meditation. Can you tell us a little more and kind of describe more how that played a role in your personal journey?
A mindfulness and meditation played in my personal journey. Yeah,
Yeah.
where so the meditation, so what I started was with Tony Robbins priming when I joined that morning routine, and it was guided, and he goes into like gratitude and goes into visualizing your goals, like creative visualization, and then sending love and positive energy to other people, or like a prayer or a blessing. And um those things, like when I did that consistently, I noticed my anxiety go away.
Hmm.
And with mindfulness, just taking more time to be more thoughtful of how am I speaking about myself? What kind of words am I saying about myself? I used to say things like, "Oh, you're so fat," or "How stupid you are." You start saying these things, and then just slowing down and being like, "Wait, wait, wait. I shouldn't be speaking these type of words over myself. This is
Mhm.
this is not nice. You wouldn't say this to somebody else. Why am I talking about myself like that?"
Yeah.
And so that mindfulness has really helped me. I started doing like mirror work. I'd actually like look in the mirror and tell myself the opposite of what I've been telling myself for so long. It became a habit. So like it's when you start saying no, you're beautiful in the mirror, it feels awkward at first, but the more you say it, the more natural it becomes, and the more it starts to work in your life. These so that's how it's been helping me lately.
Yeah. I love the idea of like you wouldn't say that to another person because it's so true. And if you're like, well, there are some people that I would say it to. Would you say it to your best friend? Would you say it to your kid? Would you say it to your grandma? Like those are the kinds of things that you can try to put into your mind and say, I would not say these things to the people that I love and that I care about. And
Right.
you should work on loving and caring about yourself. So don't say them to yourself. The mirroring exercise though, that can get really uncomfortable. At first it can
Yeah,
because you're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to say that to myself. And it's a little you can feel a little silly doing it, but it really does help. It really does help
mhm,
reframe some things and train your brain also because you've trained your brain to say those things over years of
exactly.
thoughts, and it's years of process, and it takes a long time to undo that and kind of claw back and try to take that power back from there.
Exactly. So if there's something that you keep telling yourself and you know it's not serving you in a positive way, it doesn't serve anybody saying those type of things to you. Say it in the opposite. Say the opposite of say. For instance, you say, "Oh, I'm so disorganized. I misplace something all the time," and this is something you tell yourself, "I'm so disorganized." But you want to be organized. You want to have order in your life. So say, "I am organized," and put that affirmation on your mirror. Put it on the back of your phone case. So wherever you see it, and just start saying that, and you'll start seeing that actually start applying in your life. You'll see you're not that disorganized, or there is ways where you are organized, and you can start cultivating those qualities and those values in your life.
Yeah, yeah, and I like the example too, and also I have Post-it notes everywhere, so it'll be Post-it notes for me.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about meditation and mindfulness, I think that there can be some things that immediately spring to people's brains. So, what are some common misconceptions about those two things that maybe you've heard frequently or that people have brought up to you in the past?
Yeah. I see when I bring up meditation to my Christian friends, or just people that are more religious, they might think, "Oh, that's a Buddhist thing," or that's a
Mhm.
cult," and they don't realize all the different types of meditations and how they actually work, and they quickly dismiss it as something they don't want to to partake in. And then someone that's not spiritual, they think, "Oh, that's too spiritual for me," and they don't want to partake in it. Um, and really, it's for mindfulness and meditation. It's it's for anyone.
Mhm.
It's so it's a beautiful thing, and there's different types and versions. And mindfulness, for instance, gratitude is for everybody.
Yeah.
If you set your attitude to gratitude and you make a gratitude list, and you're worrying, mindfulness, you're worrying about tomorrow, and everything that's going to happen, or you're stuck on yesterday. And if you can be mindful and say, "You know what, no, I'm going to be grateful for now, the things that I have." Think about the things that you love, and if you can do it in a meditative state too, that makes that even more powerful. So right now we're having a conversation. Our brain is this is our brain waves right now. So we can measure these with little, EKGs or whatever they probes you put on on your head. So your brain waves are going like this.
Mhm.
But when you can take some deep breaths, slow down your heart rate, slow down your mind, your brain waves start to go like this. You start to have coherence between your brain and your heart. And then you start thinking about what you're grateful for. You start thinking about your goals, and you focus on things working out. Sometimes we think about the things that we have to do and we get anxious, and we think about all the ways it's not going to work out and all the ways it's going to fail. But when we're mindful, we can think about how we can visualize it actually working out for good. And and it's actually clinically proven in science now, if we can visualize things working out for good, they're more likely to work out for them. And gratitude and love and peace, self-control, all those emotions, they promote healing. It's proven to decrease anxiety, depression. So if we can use mindfulness and meditation, you're going to be healthier mentally, physically, spiritually.
Yeah. Do you consider prayer to be a form of meditation also? I've heard people go either way on that one.
So I think of prayer as you're doing more communicating with your higher power. You're expressing yourself. You're asking questions. You're speaking more. And then the meditation part, slowing down and being receptive to listen.
Yeah.
And also getting the emotions of, we can make a gratitude list and say, I'm grateful for my cats. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for this new day. And if we could slow down, like I said, slow down our mind and slow down our heart and just get into a safe, grounded space. And then we go into our gratitude and really think about, why do I love my cat so much? Why is this day so special? And feel the emotions of love. That's when healing can take place in a cellular level. It's and subconscious. You can start rewiring those subconscious programs that you have running, that, like I said, those bad words, those things that aren't serving you, the anxiety and the depression and the fear and the resentment and the guilt and all the shame. We can stop those. We could ask in Jesus' name in prayer, like, help me with this, and go into meditation and cultivate those feelings. And it's so lovely. It's so lovely.
Yeah. You talking about religion earlier and people saying like, oh, that's a Buddhist thing, or that's, that's this or that. It's like, well, I mean, prayer's kind of right in there. Like it's already there. I kind of wish that people would make that connection a little more often than not. So if you have someone who's brand new to meditation and mindfulness and they're like, something's got to give, something's got to change, what advice would you give to someone who is very new to those concepts?
Yeah, so I get a lot where people say, I tried it, it didn't work for me. And then I dig a little deeper and they tried it once.
Right.
And if you have an infection and the doctor gives you 14 days worth of antibiotics and you take one pill and you say, I'm not healed, didn't work for me. You weren't consistent and you didn't give it a good try. And it's the same with meditation, same with prayer and all that. You have to be consistent and you have to keep trying. And like I said, it took 14 days when I first started, when I noticed my anxiety go away. And it's just like that example I said with the medication. You have to be consistent, and there's a lot of different, we know about mental health. There's different medications for mental health too, and some medications work for one person and not for another person.
Yeah.
And there's different types of meditations. There's different, there's men-led ones, there's women-led ones, there's different music, there's different forms, there's different forms of meditation, and just find one that works for you. Find something, and some people are more fidgety, so they're like, I can't sit still for meditation. Well, there's meditations where you can fidget and move, or there's movement, so technically, if you think about something over and over and over, you're meditating on that. You're technically meditating. So if you're meditating on something negative, that's gonna negatively affect you. So why not meditate on something positive? And that's what I would tell somebody that is new to it and they say it doesn't work for them. Find one that does work for you.
Yeah.
So there's so much out there,
Yeah. And I love the comparison of the medication, because even if you, all right, so if you're trying to address anxiety and your doctor puts you on a new medication for anxiety, they tell you to give it 3 months. and see if there's any change. Like it's still not overnight. In some cases, of course, it could absolutely help almost immediately. Okay, sure. But in a lot of cases, with a lot of medication, it takes a really, really long time to see any effects. And if you're trying something one time and then it doesn't work out for you, just know that there are other things out there, different ways to do those different things. And Tibbs got a great question in the chat. They would like to know any tips to creating a meditative space. And I'm not sure, Tib, if you mean like a physical space or like a mind space for that. But Tracy, you can address both if you want.
I do promote that, making a positive, a toxic-free environment, just a space where you can feel at ease, feel at peace. So I took my bedroom, for example, and I got rid of my bed and I put the mattress in my closet and put up a curtain and little twinkle lights, and I made it just a really like warm, welcoming space that felt really comfortable. And sometimes if we live in a very high, like say there's a lot of, I don't want to say toxicity, but you need to be able to remove yourself from the chaos sometimes. Physically would be really great. But mentally too, what's great about meditation, mindfulness, is with practice, you can be anywhere and go into that safe space. So if you have that space, that place that you feel really calm and relaxed in, where say there's ferns and moss and some running water, like you've been there when you were a kid, you just absolutely loved it. What's so great about the human mind is that you can close your eyes and go back to that space no matter where you are, and create some calm, because it's not good to live in constant chaos all the time, like that fight or flight that we're in. That's kind of like how our world is right now, like go 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 and fight fight fight. And what's so cool about the human mind and our imaginations is we can shut that off and go into a safe space, and it's so good. But yeah, physically too, like, if you have a place in your house that you'd like to like a little remodel and put some pretty pictures up and stuff that makes you feel good and makes you happy, so when you sit there, you just instantly, like, it triggers you into like calmness. Yeah, I've done that with Uplift with Tracy. I've had some friends, they wanted to, their lives were chaotic, and I was like, you need a space where you can go and feel good. And so we literally went to their house, found a space, and we remodeled it, put curtains up, had little, knickknacks that they like, and then we did a little meditation, and we did some prayers, and it felt good. And so that's their space now. So I do recommend that.
I like that. Question? Yeah, I think so. And Tips as well. I've done the same thing, talking about the bed and putting in the closet and all of that. And I feel like I know I've brought this up before, but there are studies that show, like, looking at nature is beneficial for you. Being in nature is beneficial for you. But if you can't look at nature, like literally out the window, look at nature, or you can't go out and be looking at nature, you can get similar benefits, not the exact same, but similar levels of benefits, pulling up a picture on your computer screen and looking at nature. And so your brain really can transport you to that space and get you those benefits, even if you can't physically get to something like that. And what you were talking about with the ferns and everything just reminded me of that one. So now, we're already talking about nature, and you were also talking about like people who are not able to be still. So in your bio, you mentioned the mindfulness hikes. So can you walk us through a little bit of a typical mindfulness hike and what kinds of things people do while they're on these mindfulness hikes?
Yeah, so we get a group of people together, and I talk to them before we get started to be mindful of what they're thinking about, what they talk about, so we're going up to the stone quarry. Have uplifting, encouraging conversations as you walk up there. If you notice you're starting to gossip or start to complain, bring it back to the gratitude, bring it back to the here and now, and see, like, what do you smell? What can you touch? What do you see? And enjoy what nature has to offer, And so then we take our nice mindful hike, and then we get to our destination, and we've done some meditations. I have this really neat little device called a plant wave, and I can connect it to a plant and it'll make music, and
Oh, that's
but you
really
don't even need that.
cool.
It's pretty cool, yeah. And yeah, so it'll make some music, but just being out in nature is good enough. We got birds singing and the wind blowing the trees, and maybe sit by some water. And that's where we sit, and I'll guide the meditation. So I'll help them relax, take some deep breaths, get present, go from head to toe, just relax, slow down the mind, slow down your heart rate, and we'll think about those things we're grateful for. Go into, what are you grateful for? What brings peace? What do you love? And then we'll go into like our goals and things that we want to accomplish and how we want to be as a person. And imagine that already happening. Imagine that you're already doing it. You're already successful at these things. So you're imagining your goals being completed, and putting yourself on that wavelength, on that trajectory of success, because when you can visualize it, it's more likely to happen. And then we go into sending love and appreciation to somebody else. So I say, somebody out there needs love. Somebody needs to know that they are appreciated. They need to know they have a purpose and a hope. They have a future. And don't underestimate the power of positive intentions for them, and visualizing them doing well too. And saying a little prayer for them, sending them some love metaphysically to them. And so that's what we visualize, and we'll take a few more deep breaths in and come back, and everybody's just so zenned out and just loving it, and had some really good experiences, a lot of good feedback for people that have never meditated, never been to on a mindfulness hike or wherever we are. It's new for them, and just getting out in nature is just very healing. And so that's a mindfulness hike. And we might do some
really cool.
some sort of like activity in the woods that might be fun, involving rocks or some plants.
That's really neat. I like that. So if you're ever just sitting there and all of a sudden you have this feeling of like, I feel that love, it's probably coming from Tracy's group. I'm tell you right now.
We're sending it to you right now.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned kind of kindness for others and that compassion for others. How has the practice of that kindness and that compassion influenced your own life and well-being?
Yeah, so before I really started practicing the mindfulness, I wanted to share that I felt like I had a lot of people in my life that